When I asked my friend this question, what he responded with had me shocked. He said I was obsessed. Now, this is way back. There was an assignment where in psychology we had to ask people close to us to describe us in one word. And my friend said, and he blurted out before I could even finish the question, obsessed. Now, I don't think he meant that as a compliment, but I personally took that as a compliment. I thought that was the coolest thing at the time anybody could say. I was obsessed. Now, how can being obsessed be possibly that missing ingredient to keep you moving forward to pursue whatever it is that you want to achieve? So, when I asked him what he could describe me in one word, he said obsessed. Now, what he meant by that at the time, and even I guess throughout my life, I was always interested in personal growth and success, consuming a lot of the Tony Robbins content and Jim Rohn, and the list goes on and on. In more recent, we've got Alex Hormozi and some of the big names there in the online marketing space. And he's true. I was obsessed. I was obsessed with learning, hearing these personal success stories. And recently I realized that being obsessed might be that missing ingredient. When I think of obsessed, the person that comes to mind, top of my list, would have to be Mr. Beast, because I think he even states that in his interviews that he was obsessed with becoming the biggest, best YouTuber, even at a very young age, committing to as long as it takes to get the outcome, which as we've seen today, he definitely has. I also think of being obsessed when I hear Alex Hormozi, and I guess this would be tied into it. Often he shares that we don't realize how much effort it takes to have success, especially in content creation and in many things in life. I think we have a perception of what that effort takes to get the results we see that others have, and we're nowhere near it. And I think because we don't follow people around day to day. Now, the one person that you probably have some idea what effort it takes would be Gary Vaynerchuk. He does all the behind the scenes content. He has so much content out there. It's incredible. I think as of now, I think it's over 400 pieces of content across multiple platforms. So he's everywhere, and you see the day to day. You see the inputs and the grind that's put in to get to where he's at. Maybe you've experienced this yourself. Often it's one of these things where I always come back to Steve Jobs being able to connect the dots looking back, but not forward. Whenever you do achieve something that you may have struggled with in the past, once you do, you look back at your old self and realize probably the missing ingredient is putting in that effort to get to where you are today. Oftentimes we're not even in the arena with the amount of effort that it takes to get something, to get some momentum and get off the ground. And I think that push, that ignition comes from being obsessed with something, what it is that we focus on, what is it that is of interest to us. For me, it's always been online marketing, paid search, SEO, social, email marketing, all the pieces, designing websites, pretty much all over the map. But oftentimes it's concentrated in one area. I remember as I was working through Google Ads, started getting obsessed with SEO. It was a whole different universe. And then got into the SEO space, and part of that is, of course, content and YouTube content, video content. And that's what led me here. And just being fascinated and obsessed with all the different growth marketers in the YouTube space, all the coaches, all the various insights people share. A lot of the new creators sharing their experience, I think, is really cool because they're at the same level that I'm at, beginning on this path, and I can see what things worked, what things didn't work, and by people sharing those is really super helpful. So find out what your obsession is. What is that you put a lot of time into? And when I think to the personal growth, the amount of audiobooks that I have accumulated and physical books, and it was always in that in that space. I think sometimes when we look at something that we want to do in terms of focus on, if you wanted to create a YouTube channel or some type of business, often it's not the obvious. It's always something else because we see this shiny new object. And then when you really think about it, where do you spend most of your time? What are you obsessed about? Or it could be something completely new you want to learn. That most likely is going to be the path, because you're going to be able to put in the reps like Hormozi talks about, put in the time and the effort, put in the amount of posts that Gary Vee discusses, and you need to have that interest and maybe heightened interest or obsession to get over that hurdle of not starting or losing momentum and getting back and course corrected. So find out your obsession, stay obsessed. Look forward to talking again. Appreciate you being here. Have an amazing day. Thanks.